Being brought into this world, the last of three children, a boy with only two sisters for siblings with no brothers. Can you imagine some of the things that I played with, some of the things that I had to see, and just some of my experiences, period, coming up with two sisters and no brothers? Well, can you imagine some of the things that I played with? If you're thinking Barbie dolls, fingernail polish, high heels, cross dressing, something of the sort, you're thinking the exact opposite of most of the things that I played with. But don't feel bad. I sort of figured that would be a typical response. So today I'm gonna inform you a little bit on about myself and some of my experiences coming up with two sisters and older brothers, and why I feel my childhood wasn't that different of a boy coming up with brothers instead of sisters. And also some of the things that I was interested in, some of the things that I enjoyed doing that would get me in trouble with my parents pretty much every time I would do them, and some of the personnel who stood in the spot of a brother in my life because I had no biological brothers. So, what really takes up the interest of a boy coming up with two sisters and no brothers? Some of the things that took up my interest definitely had to have been sports. Sports was sports was something that I really enjoyed doing, and I had a favorite one, and my favorite sport definitely had to be baseball. Baseball was my favorite sport because everyone in my town played it, and I was actually pretty good at it, so that made it a little bit more fun. Secondly, had to be football. Football, I really wouldn't say I didn't like doing it, but it was a sport that I enjoyed playing only because my dad enjoyed watching me play this sport. He seemed to have just found more enjoyment watching me play football than any other sport. Lastly, I would say basketball. Basketball was a sport that I enjoyed playing only because my older uncle played basketball. I wasn't good at anything like that, but it was pretty fun to play, I would say. Also, some of the things that I enjoy doing that would get me in trouble with my parents pretty much every time. First off, definitely had to be in chores. I never wanted to do my chores coming up as a child. Chores seem to just take up all of my fun time. When I come home from school, only thing I want to do is just go outside. I don't want to do homework. I don't want to do chores, nothing of the sort. And when I did do my chores, I halfway did them, so I wound up spending all day doing chores. So, and another thing was I love to go outside in my school clothes or my Sunday clothes or brand new clothes that my parents just had bought me, knowing that there was a possibility that I would get a grass stain or mud stains or some of the sort on my clothes, but I still went out and done it anyways. And a big thing was just staying up past my bedtime. Staying up past my bedtime on school days was something that I really used to get in trouble for. Just I would just want to watch TV, play with my sisters, get on their nerves, and just do things that I shouldn't have been doing at that time because it's bedtime. And personnel, I would say, who took up the role as a brother in my life definitely had to have been my uncle. My uncle was one of them. My uncle was a guy who really inspired me. I really looked up to, and he was a guy that showed me more of the mannish things, the way he flirt with girls and some other things. And my right hand man definitely had to have been my younger cousin, who's younger than me by 25 days, and his name's Javante. I mean, he's a pretty cool guy. He was just he was like the only male that was around my age at the time, so he was my right hand man. And another guy that played the role of a brother in my life had to have been my next door neighbor. My next door neighbor was type of kid that loved to just get dirty. Anything that could get you dirty, he wanted to play in it, and mud was a big one. So Every time I would go out and play with my next door neighbor, I would always come back in and leave a trail. But having heard some of my childhood experiences, do you feel I was any different from a boy coming up with brothers instead of sisters? Think about it, take a quick thought. Um, well, today I have informed you a little bit about myself. I've informed you on some of the things that I was interested in, some of the things that I enjoy doing coming up that would get me in trouble with my parents. Also, some of the personnel that played the role as a brother in my life because I had no biological brothers. And this concludes my speech. Speech one. Thank you for taking out the time to watch my speech.